Compassion means to me that we treat everybody with respect and fairness, that we examine the frailties that all of us have and do what we can to ameliorate those frailties.
For me, compassion is all about seeing people with your heart. You know, really understanding people and where they are and what their needs are, and really understanding from the heart instead of the brain.
Whether it's food needs, whether it's clothing needs, people that are down and out. And then not only recognizing that, but taking action, doing something that alleviates that problem for them.
It's more of an action. Unlike sympathy, where you may look at a situation and say, oh, isn't that bad, or I wish I could do something about that. You know, that's being sympathetic. Being compassionate is more like empathy, where you can relate to that subject or what's going on, and makes you want to be motivated to do something about it.
To me, compassion means to be like loving and caring and wanting to help others and putting others before yourself, to have their needs be your priority.
Compassion to me means when you see people, not judging them, being sympathetic to the situation that they're in, helping them out in any way you can.
So to me, compassion means caring. It means looking after people and just trying to help when you can and when you're able, just to ensure that you have, a vibrant and healthy community and healthy people in it.
I think it's just helping everyone, no matter where they are in their life, just more than just doing things for each other, but how we speak to each other and it's how we help each other on a daily basis, just being kind to one another.
Compassion is a feeling that one has for another in terms of acceptance, of love, of helpfulness, of generosity, and all of the things that falls in between those.
You know, we drive people all day long as coach drivers, both Bobby and I, and every day people come in on our bus. It's very important to me to be able to say hello with a warm and pleasant smile, not knowing what maybe that person has gone through or what they're going through at that time. And if I can, make somebody smile or give them a moment of happiness, I do. And compassion means to me to be observant and to be able to be there to acknowledge them.
It means do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
When somebody helps somebody else who doesn't really have anything that they can't really do, somebody can help them do what they have to do.
Compassion means to me caring for others. It means being sympathetic, understanding, patient, tolerant.
To me, compassion means treating everyone you meet with kindness. It's understanding differences and celebrating them. It's not judging, but always assuming good intentions.
It's caring and giving up something and working hard just so others are happy.
It's a state of being, how you feel about others.
I think Lacey is a very compassionate community. I think what helps is that a lot of us were raised here. We went to school here. It's our hometown.
I think Lacey's a compassionate community because everybody cares about each other. Something I see through the Lacey Southtown Chamber is that people are willing to drop anything to help each other. It's whatever they need to do to make this place a better place to live.
And I think the city really does a good job in connecting with the residents and providing them activities that they would enjoy.
I think Lacey's a compassionate community because it really does put people first. From my perspective at Senior Services for South Sound, Lacey has always been open to caring for the elders in the community.
I think the thing that makes Lacey a compassionate community is its open, unbiased acceptance of its diverse citizens, despite our many differences.
When I first think about Lacey, then I have to stop and think about what makes up Lacey, and it's our government, it's our schools, it's our businesses, it's our citizens. Homeless backpacks were started by a family from Lacey, and those provide backpacks to children who need food for the weekends.
I think Lacey is a very compassionate place because a lot of people, when you're sad, they always help you up.
Whether it's Lacey Loves to Read, whether it's the Lacey Spring Fun Fair, whether it's any activity connected with schools or anything, you'll see our community, you'll see the mayor out there, you'll see the city council, you'll see the school superintendent, you'll see our community leaders out there demonstrating what it's like to be a compassionate person, to take the leadership and to show people what's significant. I think that's what makes Lacey unique.
We weren't going to wait for the federal government, and we looked for our own internal funding sources, and we rented some office space, and we have the first Lacey Veterans Service Center here in Lacey. And so that is actually understanding an issue and not just feeling helpless about it, but actually doing something about it.
I do. Here in Lacey, people are really friendly and care about each other.
When people are willing to give not only their time, but their resources, or anything which is needed in our schools, it has been amazing for me to watch from our business community, from our Rotaries, from our chambers, from everyone. And city as a whole, I feel, is full of places for people to go and walk, and there's so many trails and environmental areas to visit and really be out there in the nature. This is an amazing place. And Lacey, I think, beyond being that way from environmental standpoint, but it's just the total support we feel as a school system from all of our community members, that if we don't feel deeply in our hearts, how can a child be successful in classroom if they have some difficulties in their life which they are not responsible for, but they are there. And so it's more of that feeling in our community here in City of Lacey and our area here that I feel is very special, which doesn't exist in a lot of different places. So it's very impressive.
And one of the things that I see as compassionate is that the city provides a lot of activities for free. That sounds maybe a little simplified, but I remember talking to a first-term Army enlistee with wife and a little child, actually 2 little children, and his comment that he liked living in Lacey because there were things for families to do. There were family events that he didn't have to pay for, that he couldn't afford to pay for. So to me, being inclusive and family-friendly is compassion.
We were looking for an area that we felt safe in, that had good school districts.
Right.
We traveled around pretty much around Tacoma, Puyallup, and whatever, but we ended up in the city of Lacey. We feel the city is on top of many, many things as far as not only the school district and the police department and us being safe, but the community and how it's growing and the infrastructure and the things they did with the Elm Highway with the roundabouts and making sure that transportation is good for the people and the civilians in Lacey. So we feel
reach quite a few people, yeah.
Yeah, so not to mention the diverse population between military, veterans, senior citizens. And the senior citizen facilities here are awesome as far as retirees. And so the community pretty much outreaches to a diverse population, and we feel that's compassion with Lacey.
And we've been really fortunate that we live in a place where there's so much compassion for somebody who has maybe some special needs that it's just been amazing for my whole family.
That Lacey is the warm heart of the state of Washington. I found a tremendous amount of compassion by the majority of people when I moved to this community in 1965. I didn't know it at that time, but the county of Thurston, which at that time had 40,000 inhabitants or residents, of which only 15 were people of color, my color. So I made number 16. And there was animosity against me by some, but the vast majority showed compassion, but I was accepted, and the warmth wrapped around me and preserved me and kept me comfortable. That was the beginning of my relationship with the city and the region in regards to this thing that we just described as compassion.
Summer meal program that Lacey puts together all throughout the city. And what it does is that it feeds these students a meal. And not only that, many of these places also permit activities that engage them with arts, and of course it keeps their mind really active. It's meeting a need that's there, but beyond that is recognizing the spiritual need and the emotional need of a person, because a person is not only a body, a person is mind, body, heart, and soul. And I think when we are motivated by something as powerful as compassion, we can never underestimate what that can do to a soul. I think it inspires them, it brings out the very best in them. It almost immediately actualizes what it means to be human, what it means to be in a community, what it means to love.